Hi everyone, I'm still at Nova Open and I've got Frank Brooks from Fancy Fight Games for a bit of a chat, so thanks for joining me, Frank.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, you having a good time this year?
Oh yeah, this is great. I had a lot of fun last year too.
Yeah.
But this year I was able to explore a lot more of the con than just teaching people how to play X-Wing.
Yeah,
But,
that's good. Especially with a flight crew there, they've got minions to do your bidding now and try and enjoy yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was really great actually getting to see how other people are experiencing the con and what other miniatures games are out there and what people are liking to do.
Yeah, it's really good. I love it here. I'm definitely coming back again as much as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so I don't want to keep you too long, so
Sure.
we'll get straight into hard-hitting questions. So we'll open up with some X-Wing talk because that's what you're
That's
most
what I've
known
been
for at
doing,
the
yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Obviously, we'll talk about the newest stuff, which was U-Wing and TIE Striker. It's announced.
We just announced it over this weekend.
Yeah.
Friday was it, I think?
I think
Yeah,
so,
I think it's Friday.
Some time ago.
Yeah,
It all
in the
phased
very
to-
recent past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm really excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Rogue One, so I'm really excited to have more.
Oh yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, and then I'm really looking forward to TIE Striker, but we'll talk about both. And how much input did you have into these two ships?
Sure. Yeah, I was a developer on
Yeah.
those. That was kind of my last development thing I've done on X-Wing before I made more of a transition to RuneWars.
Yeah.
Still doing the FFG and stuff, but
Yeah.
that was kind of my last big thing. So it was a lot of fun making those titles to use what information we knew about the ships to try to make them feel interesting, unique, and fit into roles into the
I really
existing
like
factions.
every time something new happens, like the dual card for adaptability. It's like, how can we use this in a different way now? The attack mode and landing mode for the U-Wing, is it? It's really good.
Pivot wing, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun to go through the various iterations of like, well, we know the wings can move, and we're able to like make the plastic do that. How can I use that feature in the game? Because we arguably could have done with the Lambda shuttle, but it doesn't seem to really do anything besides it can now land because its wings aren't there.
Yeah.
But it appears that it'll help it with like flying versus dropping off troops.
Yeah.
And so I hope that the mechanic that we introduced to reflect the landing / attacking modes is going to have a fun twist on the
I'm already
game.
trying to think of like self-bumping wingmen to
Sure.
just keep rotating it 180.
Sure.
Which way am I going to go?
We're gonna be, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had a deploy when the Defenders first came out. I used to deploy. It was about 7 or 8 bases away from each other. Face it right on the back line, facing each other, and then I'd run Rexler and Vessery together with HLCs and fly them straight at each other. And one of them would K-turn and barrel roll, and the other one would just carry on going.
Yeah.
And then we're perfectly in line.
Nice.
So, and I just
But which way are you going? Are we going right? Are we
Who's
going
K?
left?
Who's going to K? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we're in formation. It was really good fun. And
Yeah.
just that kind of, just fun flying. It's a lot of potential.
Yeah.
That's the adaptive ailerons on the
TIE
TIE
Striker.
Striker. I'm so looking forward to playing with those.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, there's a lot of similar sort of gimmicks, if you will, as far as like how you can utilize the not a boost, but boost-like maneuver to move and then still do your turn afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like the pre-nerf Phantom in the sense that you do it as when you activate. So you're able to change your bearing when you go. But this one is far less easy to manipulate because it's very obvious to the opponent you're going to go forwards and then somewhere. But the pre-nerf Phantom was like, I could be anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think this was a lighter version of that thing to kind of reintroduce it, but not as much.
It's interesting as well. Obviously, Duchess is PS8, so you can, if you want to, you can go all in on this repositioning.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's not a 2-barrel roll. So
Sure, it's not huge.
Don't panic. It's okay.
Yeah, it's obviously it will influence your final positioning
It's
significantly,
really good.
but yeah, it's not as ludicrous as the. And also, the smaller health pool and not having 4 agility is going to help. In the turns you get to shoot at it, you can probably hit it.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's just the right amount. I think I did a quick video on it a couple of days ago, and my thoughts were like, it sits just in the right place. It doesn't really add anything new to Imperials in like concepts, but it fits really well in the middle of that trend that they have. It's just as punchy as an interceptor. It's not quite as rugged as a bomber. It's only got the 200, and it's stealing from all of these little things and being. You can tell it's something different. So like the ground attack nature of the craft and doing all of that stuff. But it's not. It isn't a TIE fighter, but it's part of a family.
Yeah.
But it still feels right.
Yeah, that was our goal. There's a goal is that it will feel like a thing that feels like a TIE fighter, but it's not like so much like a TIE fighter. Yes, I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. I really like it.
Good.
I'm looking forward. That's the one out of the entirety of Wave 10 I think it got added into. That's the one I'm looking forward to playing with the most. The stupid stuff with quadrumpers having potentially it's got a reverse. I don't know what it is, but I know there's one because I can count and it says there's 6 speed ones. So unless you've given me 1 Segnars. So I'm really looking forward to that just because I want to know what happens when I drop a bomb and move backwards.
Right.
That was stupid. It was a mistake. I regret nothing. But yeah, this is my new favourite now. This is the one I want to play with. And then the U-Wing is... I think I was chatting with a couple of guys from Nova in the text, and I was like, oh, well, it's potentially going to be a Rebel shuttle. We can maybe see some Rebel support crew. I'm like, well, I think Jin's really good. Jinus is really, have some focus. What, Paul, you need some more focus? There you go. Take it all. So it's really good.
It's going to be a lot of fun bringing those characters from the movies. From what we know about them, hopefully they epitomize some of their personality. We didn't have perfect knowledge, obviously. We didn't get to see the movies or anything, but hopefully a lot of the character abilities will feel right for them. So
obviously the other crew as well. I forgot the guy's name. The other main.
Cassian Andor.
That's the one. I would really like that bluffing aspect of it because the amount of times you're playing, it's like, well, if there's 2 moves. We've both got 2 moves. If I do this one, he does that one. And it's like, I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to call the other one, and I'm going to be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah.
It's got that personality really comes through in the card, so hopefully it matches up what's in the film.
And the really spy aspect and whatnot. So
it's like,
we'll see.
I'm like an intel agent, but good at my job.
Sure.
That's really good. I'll cross the what we're talking about already. Talking point. I'm so professional. My dice hate notebook. I'm so good. Please watch my videos. So you mentioned that you've been doing the FAQ and the flow chart for the attack phase.
Yeah,
that was fun. Grueling.
Yeah, that was a long in coming. We like Alex really wanted to pursue this idea of Dengar being like getting revenge. And I was like, that's really cool, and he wanted to pursue it that direction. And I said, okay, well, I think that might get a little hairy, but okay, let's do it. And then I had to deal with what that meant, which have worked out. There was a little period of time where people were kind of confused about what exactly was supposed to be happening, and the game technically could resolve it, but it was really complex as far as, well, if this triggers and then I resolved my gunner afterwards and then this, and there's just so many lingering effects that persisted, and you needed to remember this order, and it was just, the game could handle it, but there was just so much being introduced with the ability to perform attacks after attacks that we sort of needed this. I mean, mostly every normal attack didn't need this. You can do it just fine. I mean, you see all those demos. You don't really need a fancy timing chart. I'm gonna roll attack dice and modify them, and you're gonna roll defense dice and modify them. That's it. But occasionally, with some of the complexity introduced with all of this, we could have had it as far back as Gunner, because Gunner is kind of doing this attack afterwards, and then Gunner with Tactician. Like, the argument could have been made that we could have brought this up earlier with, like, do you have to resolve Tactician before you resolve Gunner, or Gunner after Tactician? Like, what does it all mean? But
I think one of the ones that I heard, I'd never seen, but was because Vader Crew triggers at the same time as Gunner.
Yeah.
Technically, you can resolve Gunner before you resolve the first Vader Crew, and then do you have 2 Vaders stacked?
Right.
And I'm like, I've never heard this, and we were reviewing the FAQ before chat came out, and the guy I was chatting with on Skype brought this up.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really weird. As a TO, I probably would have been like, no, stop it. But would I have been right? I don't know.
Right, because
banking Vader, crushing stuff in case you don't need to because you've got a gun.
Right.
It's like, feels wrong, but it doesn't mean it is.
Yeah.
I'm just no, it's weird out.
Right.
So even like I say those old interactions, people read stuff in different ways, and it's like really weird.
Yeah. So I'm very glad we're able to kind of nail that down. It does make it appear like the game's more complex, but honestly, all those interactions were already in the game.
Yeah.
We were just formalizing it, so if there is any confusion, it is solvable. So I hope people can see it for what it is in that sense.
That's good. I really like it. I think it's of a benefit to the game.
Yeah.
So.
I know some people were like, "Oh, thank you so much for introducing this," but I've gotten a little bit of the other feedback too. Of course.
It's the internet. So.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of both.
Yeah. Any plans to do just more? Just make the rule book just entirely for chats?
I think that was the most complicated interaction the game has, as far as all these potential timing windows, because a lot of the abilities in the game revolve around the combat phase.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could do one for activation phase and whatnot, but they're much simpler, and there aren't a lot of things that are timing out at the same time to the point we'd need to distinguish them. So, like things that look at dials before, it's like, don't worry about it.
So until Alex comes in and tells you he really wants to do this,
sure,
which breaks another phase, we won't have any more fortunes.
Yeah, I don't think we're going that direction. I think we'll be okay. Because the timing window of after defending, after attacking, being the same timing window. Yeah. And we just never really referenced after defending to do anything meaningful.
Yeah.
That's really all that happened. Was Wave 8 introduced several things that talked about it at the same time, and so you have R5, P9, and Dengar, and there was there's one other one I'm forgetting right now. But either way, there were a lot of after defending abilities that suddenly did awkward stuff when interacting with things. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. Yeah.
Right, almost halfway there. So, as you mentioned RuneWars, and you mentioned it was the U-Wing and Striker were your last main big thing.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got Max Brooks.
Yeah.
No relation.
Max Brook.
Max Brook.
Frank Brooks. Max Brook. Yeah.
No relation because it's different names.
Different names. We're not related. Yeah.
I was like,
if you've seen him, he doesn't look anything like me. Very tall, blonde. Yeah. No, different guy.
I'll catch him at Worlds.
Yeah.
And, start dragging him over for interviews as well.
Right.
I'll get a whole team in.
Yeah, sure.
But he's taking over now. You're moving on to RuneWars. I mean, I've played 2 games so far. I've got 1 video I'm going to make. One's already online. I think I sped it up to speed 8 and was just talking how I feel about the game rather than trying to give a in-depth review of it.
Sure.
But I love it. It's awesome. I can't wait.
I could tell. I was watching you. Very excited.
Crushing people.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. You've never played. Come and play against me for this demo.
Still seem to have a good time.
Yeah, we both enjoyed it. It was
good.
Fun. I think it's hard for a demo team to get out of the mindset of, okay, we actually want to play a real game now.
Yeah.
And just try and crush you back. But no, it's really good fun.
Yeah.
How involved have you been in that? Is it your baby, or you just come in to steal the glory?
Yeah, I was basically able to come in in the last month or so of the game design. So Ender Fisher has done a great job of encapsulating a lot of ideas that we've wanted to put into the game, and as well as his own ideas, obviously, designing the game. We were, he's worked through a lot of different iterations of the game, and so I was able to come in and basically point at stuff that was in there for reasons that are no longer kind of needed, because the thing it was supposed to be counting or interacting with was no longer in the game.
Yeah.
And so I was able to clean cobwebs is I think the best description I have.
It's a fresh set of eyes going over
exactly.
it and you catch.
Was able to say, oh, why is it still here? And he'd be like, oh, right, we don't need that. Okay, great, it's gone. So I was able to do a little bit of that, but yeah, I've not been on the game that long. I'm starting to obviously work on new stuff, new content coming out afterwards. But yeah, I've gotten to play the game a lot with a lot of our interns. They've been very helpful because no one knows how to play the game. We all just started. So yeah, some of our interns are the best RuneWars players in the world because the game is.
It's going to get really excited, and I've chatted to you about it for the last 3 days, and I think we're both like, it's so much fun. I can't wait. So it looks really, really good. And so you notice I've just been taking some photographs of the cards to do an actual write-up review of it. And obviously, Kerry's got
Kerry Racetracker?
Yeah, she can bring in elves, so obviously elves. And are you looking forward to like fleshing out the actual world and stuff like that?
Oh man, yeah. I think one of the things I'm most excited about working on RuneWars is just able to solidify some of the IP stuff about the world itself, because we've been talking about it for what 20 some years now, as far back as like Disc Wars and all these Rune Age, Rune Wars, etc. Battle Lore, all these. We've been able to talk about the setting, but not in necessarily the same scope that we can here, because we're dealing with like nations fighting nations instead of just this small little skirmish or following one character as they go delving into a dungeon or what have you.
Descending to a dungeon.
Yes, descending. Yes. So yeah, I think this is kind of a first, and even just Rune Bound, the board game, second edition, it just is Tiernoth itself. So it is kind of a bigger thing. It's basically the whole country, but it's still rather limiting in scope as far as what could be addressed. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to being able to kind of go into more depth of the motivations behind factions and what the deal is with the free cities versus your various fiefdoms and what have you. And yeah, kind of explaining to a degree like what runes mean and how magic works and just kind of getting you more interested in why we're pushing around little soldiers killing each other in a battlefield.
I know we went over a little bit what we're going to talk about, and one of the things I'm interested in just is obviously Star Wars. The IP is extremely fixed.
Yes.
Are you going to have a lot more scope to Frank Brooksify, make it more of what you?
Sure. Yeah, it's been really great actually working on that within that IP because like the Carrion Lancer and the current iteration of the Rune Golem were more or less modern iterations, because there was a Rune Golem in an earlier form, but it was kind of clunkier, like chunky little guy, which is fine and all, but it was really cool to create such a dynamic sculpt and the huge swords and that feeling of just monstrosity.
It's one of my favorite models from the core set. Demo.
He's just dominates over like a little guy, because he's like, oh, that looks like a impressive soldier, and then there's this just huge thing.
The biggest thing for me, like when I saw the article come out of Gen Con, I was looking at the page, oh, it was nice, it's interesting, I'm going to buy it because it's got that, I'll buy the core set, try it, it's got that aesthetic, it fills a hole in my gaming that isn't currently being filled.
Sure.
I used to play a lot of Warhammer Fantasy, and I still play Age of Sigmar, but it isn't a rank and file battle game. And it's a fun game, I really enjoy playing it, but it doesn't scratch that itch anymore. Sure. And this is
with the whole flanking and the blocking,
exactly.
All that.
I love that kind of game.
Great.
So it's going to be, I'm so excited. But just, what's my train of thought now? Stupid RuneWars being awesome. But yeah, the looking at the pictures, I was like, oh, the miniatures. I was like, a little bit small. And then seeing them on the table, it's like, oh no, the full 28mm scale.
Yeah.
The sculpts are really nice.
Yeah.
It isn't the Imperial Assault 3 of the same. It's there's variations within the packs.
Oh yeah, whenever possible, we're gonna try to give you as many alternative sculpts, and the way the pieces will come together. They're usually almost everything is like at least 2 pieces. Although I believe there are gonna be some 1-piece sculpts as well. But having the multiple pieces means that even though you just glue a connection, you can glue it at slightly different angles. So even if you don't want to actually cut things and do all of that.
Even with Imperial Assault, I did a Tusken Raider army as soon as the Banthas came out. So I've got like 8 Tusken Raiders, and I've just changed the graphics stick into different positions and just stuff like that. So I'd do it my Imperial Assault, and RuneWars is going to be lots more scope to do
Yeah,
that kind of
I think there'll be a lot more just room for that because of the multiple different sculpts. You could just take an element from this guy, put it on that guy, all that kind of stuff, where you're able to customize it a little easier. Because with Imperial Assault, you just have like Stormtrooper, and you're like, well, he's got the pose, and there's not too many other things I can really do with that. But fortunately, here we'll have a lot more flexibility with alternative sculpts and whatnot.
So anything else you can say about RuneWars?
Sure.
I'm not going to do the interview of spend 5 minutes framing a question for you trying to say.
Just say
Can't
really answer it. Yeah. Let's see. What can I say? Yeah, I'm excited to see people's response when they actually get to play the full game and actually sit down and assemble and paint stuff. I'm also very excited about the lore guide, to be honest. I read that, and Katrina and Dan Clark have done a fantastic job writing little vignettes and little stories about the different characters and really put you like in the boots of some of the soldiers and the minds of some of the scholars and just kind of really get you the feeling of how people in the setting interpret the setting they're in.
It's one of the things that really drew me into the original Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k was just those 1 or 2 paragraph little things just tucked away in books, and it's like just draws you in that little bit. Yeah. And suddenly you start caring about Dave the Spearman.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole book. The whole book is those. Well, there's just gonna be the story where you're introduced to some guy, you don't really know too much about him, but he's thrown into some like something that doesn't seem quite right, or something supernatural, or something like that, and it's kind of probably the most important moment of this guy's career. Yeah. Because he's just a normal everyday soldier doing his job, and then that happens. Yeah. And he has to live with that for the rest of his life if he survives. But yeah, I think that the lore guide is going to be a place that makes you really start to care about the setting and really feel like you can develop interest in a specific subsection of the Deccan soldiers or what have you.
And that, I think I mentioned as soon as I saw you on Wednesday evening, we were talking about RuneWars, you had the stuff here. I was saying that I was really excited that FFG are stepping into this because it's more of a Imperial Assault is a miniatures battle game, right? X-Wing is a miniatures battle game, Armada is a miniatures battle game, but this is like say 2-part models that you maybe have to assemble, some assembly required.
Yes, some assembly
not
required.
Pre-painted. Right. The scope that I've heard tinglings that it's obviously going to be you buy stuff for your army. You're not buying an A-wing to get pushed to limits for CFL.
Yeah, I think that's another good point actually. Part of a distribution model is going to be very much that you should be able to buy one faction and be able to support everything in that. Because if you do too much of, we don't want to stress out players by being like, oh, I got to collect this unit for this upgrade for a faction, and I don't even play them and all that, because it's a lot more investment to get into one army in RuneWars than it would be to like get into
for X-Wing.
Exactly. You could buy 2 ships if you buy the right ships, and there you go. You have a list for X-Wing.
I tell people when they're starting up buying for the family, Decimator, Falcon, Corset, buy. You're done.
There you go, right? Because now that's enough that you can fly both sides with many options, all that jazz. Very easy to do. So asking someone to be like, you buy 1 A-Wing for a card, you can do that, and you can still run that A-Wing without much difficulty. Here it's like, oh yeah, buy some. A
Karen Lord for a card for your elf.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like you're going to have some fans being FFG because you've never done this type of game, to my knowledge anyway. But I was still going to be, even after they see this, they're going to be a little bit apprehensive. It's a different type of gamer. I really hope it picks up. Yeah. And I know I was talking about distribution chain, and obviously Asmodee. I really think this is going to be a massive success for you guys.
I hope so.
And I'm glad you're involved in it. I enjoyed chatting with you. I hope it shows from the interview anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, it's good fun, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, good.
So I've just always close on X-Wing, so finish on a high.
Sure.
I was just going to chat just generally a little bit about, we were discussing, you were telling me, obviously, it was your call to put Merrick Steele in the Defender.
Yes.
And he became your baby now. Yeah. So just that, the different pilots going into different ships.
Right.
And how you approach that kind of thing.
Sure. So for the most part, there's a lot of characters we are introduced to in Star Wars, and they're known for flying a ship. But some characters, obviously, we see in other capacities or in different times or whatever. So when it came to making more Defenders, I know a lot of fans wanted to see Merrick Steele in a Defender.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, let's do it. Let's put Merrick Steele in there. But what ability does he get? If we change the ability, it sort of loses a little bit of like what made him Merrick Steele in a TIE Advance. Because if you change it, why is that Merrick Steele anymore?
Just tell people to go and cross out Rex Braff and write Merrick Steele on the card.
Sure, like that could have worked in a way. Like, what if you change the ability, then how are they the same person anymore? To a degree. So it's fun when you switch ships like that they essentially have the same ability in the other ship.
Yeah.
And that has been working really great. But sometimes we might have picked an ability that just doesn't make sense in another ship or what have you. But our philosophy going forwards has been that if you see a ship in the same faction, in the same time period, that it'll have the same ability because you're Merrick Steele or what have you. And like Poe and Poe.
Yeah, we were chatting about
it's
Poe.
Yeah, it's like, what is the difference between them? Well, it's a few months later or whatever. It's not, or weeks, or it's kind of difficult to tell a sense of time in Star Wars, but it's obviously not like that much later in life.
Yeah.
But when you have like Han Solo and Chewie, it's been a long time. They have grown as people.
Yeah.
And so that's why we feel more comfortable changing it. And with some of the other cross-factional characters, we like to try to show a different side of their personality. So
Boba Fett being allowed to disintegrate people.
Right, exactly. Where it's like, oh, we would have had that originally, but
Vader, reined him in.
Exactly. So that kind of fun little, kind of a different side of the character, perhaps, or something like that. Because, it's more fun to kind of spice things up a bit as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Frank. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we finish?
No, not particularly.
Yeah, but thanks for your time. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I certainly did.
Good.
And I'll see you at Worlds and hopefully grab you after the madness is over.
Sure. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.